hello everyone, let's start the question. The question is, if H is the mass specific enthalpy, S is the mass specific entropy, P is the pressure, T is the temperature, Cv is the mass specific heat at constant volume, Cp is the mass specific heat at constant pressure, beta is the coefficient of thermal expansion, V is the mass specific volume, K is the isothermal compressibility, then the partial derivative delta H by delta S at constant P is. So we have these four options and we have to find the value of delta H by delta S at constant P. See, to solve such type of questions, we have to remember these two basic equations. So for a reversible process, TdS is equal to du plus PdV. Similarly, I can write TdS is equal to dH minus of VdP. Now this is a constant pressure process. Now if I use this equation, this is equation number 1, this is equation number 2. So if I use equation number 2, TdS is equal to dH minus of VdP. Now for constant pressures, this goes to 0 and I get dH by ds at constant pressure is equal to T. So from the given option D is the correct answer. Similarly, you can write du by ds at constant V is equal to T from this equation. So moving on to the next question, it is given if V is the mass specific volume, S is the mass specific entropy, P is the pressure, T is the temperature, then using Maxwell relation, delta S by delta V at constant T. In this question, I have to find delta S by delta P at constant T. So for that, we must know what are the Maxwell relations. To remember Maxwell relation, just follow these steps. Now there is a word known as tapasvi. You have to remember this. Now, so this tapasvi has to be written in a clockwise manner. So at this corner I am writing T. At this corner I have to write P. At this corner I have to write S, and at this corner I can write small v. Now to write equation, I have to consider the two opposite sides of this rectangle. If I consider this side first, then I can write delta T by delta V is equal to, now parallel to this side is this, so I have to write corresponding elements, that is corresponding to T you have to write B, and corresponding to V you have to write S. So I can write the equation delta P by delta S. Now to write the constant, you have to follow the diagonality, that is the corresponding to first element. See the diagonally opposite element, that is S, so this will be constant in this case. Similarly, in numerator we have P here and we have to see the diagonally opposite element of P, that is V. So I have to write V here. Now I can write any equation. Now to write the second equation, just take the numerator, that is I can write delta V by delta T. So this will be equal to, so corresponding to V we have S and corresponding to T we have P. So I can write delta S by delta P. Now to write constants, we have to follow that initially in the numerator we have taken V. So the constant will be the element which is diagonally opposite to V, that is P in this case. And similarly here we have taken S in the numerator, so T will be constant since it is diagonally opposite to S. Now these two lines have negative signs, so I have to put a minus sign in before these two equations. Now to find next equation, I have to consider these two lines now. Now to consider these two lines, I can write delta T by delta P, considering these two elements, delta T by delta P. Now since we are moving this line, so we have to take this line now. Now corresponding to T we have V, corresponding to P we have S. Delta T by delta V at constant S, so I can write delta V corresponding to, this is delta V, and corresponding to P is S, so that is delta S, and this is the diagonally opposite element V, that is P. Now this is equation number 3. Now fourth equation is simple again. I can write just reverse of this, delta P by delta T is equal to delta S by delta V. Now constant in this case will be changed, since we have to use for the left hand side p is the numerator element, so we have to use diagonally opposite element of v as a constant, that is v in this case. Similarly t in this case. So these are 4 Maxwell equations, that is 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now what our question says, I have to find delta S by delta P at constant T. So it means this question is asking for this equation, and this is equal to delta V by delta T at constant P. So this is delta V by delta T at constant P with a negative sign. So from the given option B is the correct answer.